Evening. Yes, it's
Hello,
me.
Double9Radio. Good evening.
How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. And how are you?
I mean, if I told you how I was, I could be here for like 5 minutes describing the ecstatic feeling I'm having right now, having you on the radio. Talking to I mean, my guests. This is the first time my listeners will probably hear how excited I am to have you on the show. But I don't want.
Thank you.
I don't want to say your name yet. I'm holding back to introduce you as. Oh my gosh! I think you should introduce yourself. Let our listeners know who we have on the show today.
Thank you, Double9Radio. Good evening, everyone. I'm Princess Ronke Ademiluyi, and I'm the founder of Africa Fashion Weeks London and Nigeria. And it's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Double9Radio. Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. I must say, I'm so excited. I couldn't contain myself. Since we only confirmed the day that the princess will be coming on the show, I've been like trying to practice my singing voice, trying to practice my vocabulary
Oh, my goodness.
to make sure that I can compete with the royalty that I have on the radio today. Amazing. Amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
You're most welcome. I mean, you're very modest in your introduction there. You mentioned, it's Princess Ronke Ademiluyi, who's just the founder of the London Fashion Week. But you failed to mention as well, I'm sure just the modesty, royalty, we like to be humble as well. She's a graduate of law as well, a qualified lawyer as well. So it's not just a beauty with brains, it's someone that's got talent and also can be talking to you in great law. I mean, don't sue me. I'm just saying, just I just put it out there.
Yes, I'm a graduate of law, so I'm a princess, from the biggest tribe in Africa, the Yoruba tribe.
Yes, she is a fantastic princess as well, I must say.
I was born in London and grew up between Lagos and London, and I live in Lagos and London at the moment. Like I mentioned, I'm the founder of Africa Fashion Weeks London and Nigeria. Yes, a graduate of law, but always had a passion for the business of fashion. So I went straight into fashion after studying law.
Amazing.
I have 23 years of experience in the African fashion industry.
Amazing.
I'm one of 4 siblings, and I'm a
Okay.
cultural ambassador to His Imperial Majesty, the King of the Ife Kingdom in Nigeria.
Amazing.
I'm a humanitarian, as I love service to humanity,
Of
and
course.
I'm very compassionate about the struggles of many young people, but especially young women.
Yeah.
And most importantly, I am a mother.
Amazing. I mean, look at that. She's so humble in the description, how she went, described herself as someone who's humble, but most especially a mother as well. Very compassionate, to the society, and also a humanitarian, helping out individuals who are less privileged as well. I mean, it's great to have on the show once again. I want to say thank you very much for coming on the show and also giving us a good summary of who Princess Ronke is. Can I call you Princess Ronke? Is that okay?
Yes, you can, or even Ronke if you want to.
No,
but
I
it's
think I just think to princess, So I don't want to get sued later or something. But it's okay. It's okay. I'll just call you princess today. So I mean, let's get into this. I mean, you're princess. You got a law degree. You got, you mentioned about 23 years in the fashion industry as well. I mean,
Yeah.
as an individual, what is that inspiration? What inspires you to carry on within those those years of experience you've gained? What made you what inspired you to carry on within those years? I should just leave us that.
What inspires me? The universe inspires me, as a matter of fact.
Amazing.
I get my inspiration from the universe. When I think of the magnitude, of the universe, I get inspired. I think of the stars, the planets, the energy, the galaxies, and, I just get inspired. I appreciate the way the Earth and other planets rotate around the sun,
Yeah.
And the fact that everything on Earth was created at one point.
Yeah.
So that kind of gives me the confidence, to be as creative as I want to, because I feel that we were all born to create and can manifest anything we wanted. So that keeps me going.
Amazing. I mean, I love that, that inspiration there, because no one's actually ever mentioned, every time I ask someone about, what inspires them, what keeps them going, it's always some, other thing, maybe some experiences they've had in life. But, I mean, you're looking at nature, that inspiration of nature can never can never finish. It actually renews every day because you look up in the universe. You know, you see different stars. You know, the sun is a star, is a big star itself. You know, and you look up and you see different things, and you admire that. That's amazing. So you as an individual, inspired by nature, and want to repay back nature by being that humanitarian you are.
Thank you. Yes, to me, that's what it is. So I just, inspired by nature. You know, I look into the skies. I just imagine, you know, and I just run wild with my thoughts, you know, of what can be done, what I can create, and it keeps me going.
I'm inspired already. I'm inspired. I think I'm going to adopt that inspiration because that's amazing. Because sometimes you can't run out of if you're inspired about maybe some individual or something. You know, individuals can change, can have a limit, but the universe can never have a limit. There's a renewal every day.
There's a renewal. There's so many endless things, opportunities that you can think about. So it keeps me going, amazing. And it gives me the confidence that, you know, whatever I want to achieve is always possible. I can manifest whatever I want. So yes, it keeps me going.
I mean, you got on a fan already. You know, I'm inspired already. You know, universe is my inspiration now.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Okay, so let's talk about, you know, your experience. I mean, you mentioned about 23 years of experience. That's a lot of experience, you know, to have within the fashion industry. But how would you describe, you know, the African art, design, and culture in your own words?
Okay, as Africans, everything we do reflects our culture. So our fashion, our music, our food, our arts, our designs, you know, everything about Africa is a reflection of our magnificent culture.
Yes.
And I must have said this I've said it so many times now, that Africa is a continent with up to 3,000 tribes.
Yes.
And each tribe has its own unique culture. And no matter how close the tribes are to each other, you know, even if they share borders, each culture is so different. The language is different. The way they dress is so different. The way they behave, their appearance is so different. So to me, you know, our culture is our heritage, and it's something that must be passed on, you know, to future generations. It's our identity. It's who we are as Africans.
Amazing. You know, that definition kind of resonates back to what inspires you, which is the universe. I mean, I think everyone's star is different, isn't it? The stars are different. They're unique. The glow is unique.
Exactly.
You know, the way they reflect the sun is unique as well. So I'm thinking, you know, you're quite right. You know, your inspiration actually matches the way you see African art, the design and culture, because every culture has a difference. You know,
it has a difference. It's so different because you see some countries or some tribes in Africa, and you know they're only divided by kind of like a road.
Yes.
But each one is so different. And I know this from experience, you know, having worked with so many designers from different parts of Africa. Everyone brings their culture on, and it's just so different.
Amazing. I mean, you know, it's giving me a bit of a reflection to actually appreciate the culture that we have, because it seems that the culture is being eroded by maybe the Western culture. A lot of people kind of like, you know, adopt a Western culture and frown at the African culture at some point.
The African culture, yes.
You know,
yes.
But, you know,
so part of what we do is, you know, we use fashion to try to promote our culture as well, because fashion is something that almost everyone is interested in.
Amazing. So what fuels your passion for the African fashion? Because you mentioned fashion, using that to encourage me to come back in. But what fuels that passion?
Okay, what fuels that passion? I'd always wanted to study fashion. I've always had a passion for the African fashion industry. I wanted to study fashion, but back then, fashion was not seen as a lucrative profession, so I had to study law.
Okay.
But over the years, I've learned so many things about African fashion, you know, our patterns, our symbols, how we use our fashion to communicate, how we use our fashion to tell stories. You know, and some of our fabrics, you know, they date back to thousands of years, like the ashoke, the kente, and they're still relevant, you know, in the society today.
Yes.
You know, the ability to blend African fashion with Western fashion, and that's one of the reasons why we have so many mainstream designers look to Africa for inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, you're quite right, because I remember seeing an advert. I can't remember, somewhere in a magazine or something, and Caro fabric, where maybe I think a Western designer created a piece and was selling for about £2,000, and people started making jokes about that, like, you can get someone in Nigeria to actually make that. So the thing there is, the Western world cherish our African fashion. They look at it and then all like, oh wow, look, the mix of colors, the colors, the vibrancy around the fashion. But I don't know. Hopefully it gets back in, with the African Fashion Week doing great things, back in Nigeria and here as well, because everyone is aware of that. That's very commendable from yourself.
Thank you. And we've got so many innovative and creative, new generation designers that are coming up with so many amazing designs. And there's now always something, to discover about African fashion. So the endless possibilities are there. And, that's what keeps the African fashion going. How do you even start with 3,000 tribes? And each tribe has its own unique fashion culture.
I know.
Where do you want to start from,
I know. That's
the beautiful thing about Africa.
It is. I mean, if we only just looked at the western part of Nigeria, for instance, the Yoruba land, I mean,
exactly.
We have different, should I say, tribes or cultures around there as well. You have the Lagosians that are different, the way they do things. People from Ibadan, people from,
and that's just one tribe you've mentioned
now.
Just one. Within that one tribe, you've got so many, different, ethnic groups within that one tribe. So you can imagine what we have across Africa.
Yes.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
Honestly.
It is amazing. I mean, remember, I actually went to South Africa at one point on a visit, and the experience of the culture there was mind blowing. It was mind blowing, the way they dress, the beads, and the singing as well. It was when people wear it with the proudness of being African, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's their pride, their identity. And every year during the Africa Fashion Week, we have about 15, designers who come in from South Africa, and they come with their colors, their culture, their beads and everything. And it's just so beautiful.
Amazing.
I don't think I've seen anything as beautiful as African fashion. I don't think I have seen it.
Me neither. I can't. I'm waiting for a person to come out, not because of we're African, but we know it's the color, the vibrancy, the beauty to the eye.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
We should not have been called the dark continent because we're far from dark.
No.
Or the black continent. We're more about colors and vibrancy. Everything about us is about colors and colors. No matter what part of Africa you come from, we always love the colors.
Of course, most definitely. Okay, now let's move about to the African Fashion Week, which you do in London and in Nigeria. I mean, what was that? I mean, I want this I already know the answer to it, but I just have to ask you anyway. What was that inspiration and the motivation, behind the African London and Nigeria Fashion Week?
Nigeria, okay. It was a lack of a platform that showcased African and black designers in the UK that inspired the Africa Fashion Week London.
Yeah.
While I was growing up in London in the 90s, back then it was so difficult to get your hands on a ready-to-wear African outfit. No matter what country no matter what country you came from then, you would still have to have it made for you, back home, and have it sent to you. And it was a big deal back then, and it really bothered me. So I began my research to see if there were any African or black designers in the UK.
Yeah.
And to my surprise, there were so many of them, but they were not just included in the mainstream fashion industry. So Africa Fashion Week London was born out of that urgent need of a platform that showcased black and African designers.
Amazing.
And that was why I started the Africa Fashion Week London.
Wow.
And in terms of Africa Fashion Week Nigeria, it was to provide an affordable platform for equally young, talented designers, but who could not afford, all the costs associated with them traveling to showcase in London. So Nigeria was more central, for designers around Africa who could not travel to London. So it was an affordable platform, but at the end of the day, they also still got the same visibility, but it was cheaper for them. But in terms of publicity and awareness, they still got the same publicity and awareness.
Amazing.
And that's how the two platforms emerged.
That is an amazing idea, amazing thing. And for you to be able to sustain it for this long, it's quite commendable as well. I mean, when was the first African Fashion Week held?
The first one was in 2011 in August at Gibson Hall in Bishopsgate, London.
Okay.
That was when it was held, yes, and it showcased about 50 designers to an audience of about 5,000 visitors.
5,000 visitors in, wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's amazing. That's really good. I mean, I'm sure there was quite a lot of challenges putting that together because I mean it's something quite new, and a lot of people who are on African fashion, what they see on TV is people jumping from trees to trees. You know, what's that fashion about? Do you know what I mean? You know, I mean, talk us through the journey of actually putting the event together.
Okay, the challenges. The main challenge was the fact that it was not accepted initially. Almost everyone I spoke to thought it was a bad idea and they rejected it.
Yeah.
You know,
not surprising at all. Yeah.
Yeah, no one wanted to support it. I even was advised to change the name. A few people said, who's going to buy African fashion in London? That the name Africa alone would put people off. So I should change it. But I decided not to, and I stuck to my gut feeling. I did my research. I spoke to designers, and I found out that this platform was urgently needed because, for creativity to grow, there needs to be a platform that showcases and supports its growth. And like I said, I didn't get any support. I emptied my savings,
Wow.
to host the first Africa Fashion Week London in 2011.
Wow, that's commitment. That's commitment right there. I mean, it is a very rare, characteristic or character, I should say, of an individual to put everything in. That determination to see it successful. Put everything in. All in. That's what you do.
Yeah, I kept on knocking on doors. I kept on going. Asking people to support it. As many collaborations from media houses that I could get, I got them on board. But in terms of financial support, I think people, they didn't just understand, the essence of an Africa Fashion Week, and that was probably why it didn't attract any funding then.
Wow, I mean, it's quite commendable because a lot of people would have given up, would have said, I can't do this. I mean, did you have any point? Was there any point in time you thought, no, I'm going to stop doing this. This is crazy. How am I going to make money out of this? Did you have any, kind of thoughts in that, in that way when you're doing it?
Over the years, I did at some point because one thing I did not do was I didn't identify the revenue streams from the onset.
Right.
So when I started, I got so caught up in the passion side of things, and I forgot to start identifying the revenue stream. So for a couple of years, it wasn't sustainable, and I had to make a very, very tough decision. I had to decide to sell my flats to sustain it.
Amazing.
So yeah, that decision. Yeah, I had to decide to sell my flat to sustain.
I hope that you receive millions of awards because what you've done. Because you mentioned African Fashion Week anywhere in any part of the world, everyone would know what we're talking about. Everyone knows that. Everyone identifies with that because, as you mentioned, we had the CEO of the Pacific Fashion Week on the show at some point, and she recognizes what African London Fashion Week does because that was an inspiration for her at some point to say, yes, I want to do this for the Pacific Asia or that part of the world as well.
Wow.
I think you're doing amazing. If anyone has never started, I think it's an amazing thing to do because it shows your humanitarian side, which you mentioned earlier, and your compassion because you're passionate about this. You didn't even think about the money.
Exactly, yes. And I think yes, you want to make money, but sometimes when something is passion driven, it allows it to become sustainable and you start making money eventually. But you have to be passionate about whatever you want to do, whatever business, whatever idea you have. It has to be driven by passion.
Yes.
Because it's passion. When there's no money, the passion sustains it.
Exactly. And, you're reaping the rewards now. I mean, okay, now you started this in 2011, ongoing until date as well. I mean, looking back, what would you say has been the most rewarding moment? Through the challenges, or the most challenging time as well. What's been the most rewarding moment and the most challenging moment that made you maybe think twice? Do you want to do this? If you can, remember.
For me, I think the most rewarding moment would be this year.
Okay.
During lockdown and the time of Black Lives Matters,
Yes.
being the only ones who do what we do in the UK.
Wow.
We're now being recognized. We're being called upon, to research into Black excellence within the creative industry. We're being called upon to get involved in surveys to identify challenges that Black and African designers face in the UK. We've just partnered with Amarula, to launch an initiative that will identify and reward Black creatives within the British creative industry. So the fashion, the arts, the design. So I think for me, it's this recognition that we're getting now. Knowing that we've put everything we have over the years into this platform. We're 10 years old this year. We've showcased over 1,000, Black designers from different parts of Africa and its diaspora as well. So, now being recognized for what you're doing and being the voice, the leading voice when it comes to Black excellence in the UK is really, for me, that is I don't even know how to describe it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. The same feeling I had when I heard the Princess coming on the show. Maybe similar. I don't know.
Yeah, so that is so rewarding. Yeah. That for me is rewarding enough. As in, what else you're getting recognition.
Yes.
You're being recognized for everything you have put in promoting Black and African designers.
Amazing. And that challenging moment.
The challenging moment
the
was
most,
still
I'm
when
sure
I
you've
had to make that. I had to decide whether to sell my flat or not.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. It was a tough decision to make because I lived there. It was a flat where my daughter grew up, and to make that ultimate decision of, sell it and just to keep Africa Fashion Week London going.
Amazing.
And I made that choice to sell it.
Amazing. And you got the rewards,
Exactly, I got the reward. Yeah, I got the reward. Yeah.
Amazing. So, what's your vision for African Fashion Week, London, Nigeria? What's that vision? That's should we look forward to?
Wow, what's the vision? The vision is to have an Africa Fashion Week academy, in the UK, to have a digital library for archiving and referencing, just to keep promoting African fashion, different things about Africa. Yes, that would be the next thing for me, yeah. But most importantly, to have an Africa Fashion Week Academy here in the UK that would teach and educate people about African fashion.
Fantastic. Okay, I think on that note, we're just going to go for a short break and we shall be back to find out more about our amazing guest today, the Royal Princess, oh my gosh, Ada Ronke, on the show on Double9Radio today. You don't want to miss it. Stay locked on, stay locked in. It's your host Double9 on Double9Radio. Double9Radio is 1950 3009 2020. Welcome back. It's the FEL show with Princess, the founder of the African London Fashion Week in Nigeria. It's been amazing. It's been great. I'm having so much fun. Hope you are too. If you want a chance to speak to the one and only Princess, you might not get this chance again to ask her a question live on the station. You can call in on 074 956 36899. That's 074 956 36899. Or you can send us a text or WhatsApp as well. If you're calling from out of the UK, it's +44 74 956 36899. Yes, Princess.
Hello.
Thank you once again, for staying on and being with us on the show today. It's amazing to have you, and I can't say, I can't commend you enough or give you, appreciate you as much as all the people out there in the world should be appreciating that you're promoting African fashion, promoting African culture, and all the sacrifices you've done over the years as well. It's really commendable.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Okay, now let's go back into other things you do as well. I mean, recently you were made the ambassador of Moremi.
Yes.
Of Moremi. I mean, for who don't know, I'm sure individuals out there who were wondering who's Moremi? Who's Moremi? I mean, could you give us an example, or not example? Just let us know who is Queen Moremi Ajasoro. I mean, I try to pronounce that name. I've been trying all week to pronounce it properly. I don't know if I did, but Queen Moremi Ajasoro. I don't know. Maybe you could pronounce it properly for us. I apologize.
Oh, yes, you did. Queen Moremi Ajasoro. Yes, you did. You got it well. Queen Moremi Ajasoro.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes, can you tell...
Okay, so...
Yes.
Sorry?
Yeah, tell us who that is.
Okay. So Queen Moremi Ajasoro. So the Queen Moremi Initiative is my mission work. And Queen Moremi Ajasoro, the legendary Queen Moremi, was a queen of the Ife Kingdom, who reigned over 1,200 years ago. And her bravery stopped the enslavement of her people, especially women and children. And every year, for over about 1,000 years now, a celebration is done in her honor, remembering her for this heroic deed that she did. And, just keep her legacy going.
Yes.
Yes, and that's the celebration goes on every year. It's called the Moremi Festival in Ife, where I'm from, and it's just to appreciate, what she did, as a woman over 1,000 years ago when women were restricted, to doing certain things.
Amazing. I mean, you mentioned that about the Queen Moremi Initiative. What is that? What is that about?
Okay, so the Queen Moremi Initiative, which was named after the legendary Queen Moremi herself, is a life-changing initiative, and it's also an initiative of His Imperial Majesty, the King of Ife. The King of the Ife Kingdom. He's also known as the Oni of Ife because that's where Moremi reigned as a queen.
Okay.
It was set up in 2016. And it's the initiative is what His Majesty uses to advocate for women and for the rights of the girl child, uplifting women in Nigeria through financial empowerment.
Amazing.
He does this also with the support of Chief Mrs. Olufunsho Amosun, who is the matron and the mother of Queen Moremi Initiative.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
So that's what the initiative is about. It's about women, supporting women, giving them life-changing experiences.
That's really good. I mean, that's we appreciate the Oni for doing that, and may his reign be very long.
Amen. Ashe, as we say in Yoruba, Ashe.
Ashe Dumare. You see, I learned that as well. We know this thing. Okay, so I mean, you recently made the global ambassador of Moremi as well. I mean, what an honor. I mean, I can't see anyone else doing that. Because if we look at the history of what you've been doing and what you've achieved till date, it shows that you're the right person to do that, because you've shown compassion, you've shown, dedication, and you've shown hard work in ensuring, promoting the African culture beyond the shores of Africa and also within Africa itself. That's an amazing feat. It's amazing. I mean, so what's your role as a global ambassador of Moremi?
Okay, my role as a global ambassador is to come up with strategies that would enhance the initiative and identify with them partnerships and collaborations that will benefit the brand, like identifying pillars of the Queen Moremi Initiative, and that's how the organization operates. So I identified 3 pillars, and the first one is humanity, where we use the initiative to campaign against victims of modern-day slavery and trafficking.
Oh, wow.
And, we integrate them back into the society. And our first victim that we we worked with graduates next year in business and entrepreneurship.
That's amazing.
So we sponsored her to the university when she came back from Oman, where she was treated as a slave.
Oh, no.
And this was 3 years ago. We also just recently endorsed the House of Fatima Foundation against their fight against rape. We sponsored the printing of a book, and the book was written by the founder. I called him Dad, and she was raped by her stepdad for about from the age of 7 to 13. So we endorsed her book. We sponsored her to print the book so she could circulate it around Nigeria. Yeah. And I'm sure you must have been aware of the rise of rape cases in Nigeria during the lockdown period.
Yes, it has.
So yes, even young girls as young as 5 years old, were being raped. So for in terms of humanity or our humanitarian work, this is what we do, and I identified this and brought it to the forefront of His Majesty, and this is what we do for humanity. In terms of education, we educate young ladies about our culture, through our QMA cultural pageant, which takes place once a year in Nigeria, because His Majesty is passionate about the new generation, knowing about our culture and also knowing about our language. So that's very important as well. And also part of our education as well, we did the More musical, a musical drama, because we thought, yes, we want young people to know about our history and our story, but we must also put it together in a way that it resonates, with the millennials, that they understand it. So we're not just telling it in the old and the traditional way, but we tell it in a way that they understand. And so we did Moremi the musical in 2018 and 2019, and it was a great hit, It was.
I mean, the concept was amazing as well, I mean, were you part of the team bringing that concept to life? What inspired the concept itself?
It was the story of the legendary Queen Moremi herself, what she did, the heroic deed that she did, that act, that kindness that she did then. We wanted to bring it to life, So, we wanted to bring that to life. And we thought, let's do it in a way that it's interesting, it's exciting, it showcases our culture, it showcases our heritage. And we were able to do that. So that's what inspired it, telling the story in a way that that the millennials could relate to it, the younger generation could relate to it. And they loved it. Yeah. They did.
Yes, that's really good. I mean, the point I'm picking out there is, the relatable with the millennials and also the younger generation as well, to be aware of the culture so it doesn't get lost. So it doesn't get lost, and it's not eroded by the Western culture. They need to remember where they come from, so they'll be proud
where
of
they
it.
come from.
They can be proud. Yeah. I think that's really good. But also, you mentioned
and rather forget or neglect our own culture. There's a way they can blend, the Western culture with the African culture as well. Because yes, we know that where they live here, we know that a lot of Africans in the diaspora maybe have never been to Africa before, or the children have never been to Africa before. But there's still a way that we could, blend the culture of origin, where they're from, and the culture of where they live in at the moment, which is the UK.
Yes, and it is very important. It's very important that that culture is not lost. That culture is recognized and be something to be proud of. For the children to say, yes, I am from this place. Because if you're lost and you don't know where you're from, you lose your sense of identity.
Exactly. Yes. So and then the third thing, our third pillar at QMA, which I was able to identify, and we've been working on that as well, is empowerment and entrepreneurship. Okay. And here we support young ladies, financially with small business grants, so they can become entrepreneurs. We all know that the rate of unemployment among the young people in Nigeria is very, very high. So if we give them that opportunity, we give them small funding to start from university. So when they graduate, even if they don't get a job immediately, then they can still continue with doing whatever they love to do. And that's another thing we enjoy doing.
That's really good.
Yes, and another thing I would like to mention is, that black women are the most underrepresented
Wow.
human beings in the world.
Yeah.
So, and that is why it is so important to Kabiyesi, the Ooni of Ife, the King of Ife, that, we use this platform to support women. We set it up to be our sister's keeper.
Yes.
And it's very important.
That is so amazing. And we at Double9Radio are willing to support and in any capacity we can, as
thank you.
Just reach out to us, because I think it's a very great initiative, especially that is also representing the African culture and promoting African culture as well. But I was wondering, if anyone wanted to reach out or have any individuals or females they wanted to refer, how do they contact the Moremi Initiative or
Moremi Initiative? Yeah. Okay, so our website is qmainternational.com, and all our contacts are there.
Okay, qmainternational.com.
International.com,
okay,
yeah.
Fantastic. So
it has all of our contacts. So yes, if you have any young ladies who are interested in, the small business grants, let them contact us and apply.
Okay. Any kind of criteria? Is any criteria required for the applicable individuals? Is there criteria involved?
Yeah. So once they fill out the form, yes, all the questions, everything that needs to be asked, and we'll ask them, and then they'll probably do a small presentation.
Okay, that's really good.
Yeah,
that's good. Okay, so all the campaigns are you working on within the initiative, or any other things coming in the future we should look out for?
Right now, nothing at the moment, because, due to COVID, we can't have a lot of, physical events that we normally have. So we're doing a lot of things online. I know that from the 25th of November to the 10th of December, we're going to be engaged in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, with the United Nations.
Yeah.
So we're going to be having events, talking about different things that women face in Nigeria and Africa and globally as well.
Wow, that's really good. I mean, that's amazing. Amazing, because you mentioned about the gender violence. It's very important that a lot of people are educated about that, and
it is important,
because a lot of people lack that education to understand that females have rights as well. They can't just be abused, as in any way as well. So that's why commendable that you're doing that, and I really like that as well. That's amazing. Okay, so let's go into something more. I think more recently you're doing, which is the Ashoke project. What is that project about?
Okay, that project is So the Ashoke project is the one we did with Her Excellency, the First Lady of Kwara State. Kwara State is in Nigeria. And we showcased the Ashoke at Sustainable Fashion Week, New York. It was a digital runway show where we showcased how the Ashoke was made, how it dates back to centuries ago in Nigeria, and how the techniques are passed from generation to generation within families, and how it's still relevant in the society that we're in now. There can't be any Yoruba weddings without the element of Ashoke. Weddings and coronations, inaugurations, they all make use of the Ashoke. So it's another way of sustaining our heritage through fashion.
Wow, that's really good. I mean, you mentioned digital there. Would that be the first ever project to include, the Ashoke project on a digital platform?
Sorry, say that again?
You mentioned that some technology was used to showcase the Ashoke, using some digital technology. Would that be the first ever, African attires being displayed on a digital platform?
But the way we displayed it, we actually had a fashion film. So we went into Kwara State. My team went into the state to work with the local weavers there.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, we had like a fashion documentary where we recorded everything with interviews, and they talked about the history, the relevance, and how it dates back to hundreds of years ago, and how it's passed from, from fathers to sons, from sons to grandsons, and, just a way of sustaining it and keeping it relevant.
Okay, fantastic. Is Ashoke, is it also known as the Ashoke as well? Is that a type of Ashoke, or is there a difference?
Oh, so you were talking about the Yoruba tribe and how we have the people from different ethnic groups within one tribe.
Yes.
So the Ashoke is for Kwara State, while the Ashoke is for other states.
Right.
But the Ashoke, it's called Ashoke in Kwara State.
I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't. I'm just
neither did I until I didn't know that as well until we started our project. I didn't know that as well.
So what's the uniqueness of the Ashoke fabric?
The uniqueness is the way they weave it, the way it's woven, the way you could have your own design, made for you that is not common to everyone else, the way they use the loom, the traditional loom. It's amazing. The process is just amazing. It's similar to the way they weave the kente fabric in Ghana.
Okay.
Yes, that's because the kente fabric is the heritage fabric of the Ashanti tribe in Ghana.
Oh wow! Okay, that's really good.
Yeah, and almost almost every African country has its own, or has one or more heritage fabrics that date back to hundreds of years ago. There's the mud cloth as well. There's so much.
Yeah, I'm blown away. I'm like my brain is just like absorbing all this information you're giving me. I know what Ashoke and Ashoke is now. I know how it's woven, the uniqueness of it. Amazing. I might be an apprentice at Fashion Week. Who knows? So we'll talk about that offline. Okay, I mean, you mentioned Kwara State earlier. That you've done it with the First Lady of Kwara State, but why Kwara State? Why was that a cultural? Was there cultural richness in Kwara State, or it was just reason why you chose Kwara State?
Okay, so the First Lady of Kwara State is also our matron at Africa Fashion Week London.
Okay.
And yes, and when we had our fashion talks last year, she was one of the panelists, and she spoke about the richness, the way the weavers, the women weave the Ashoke, and how she supports them, the industry there, and how it also economically benefits the state as well. And that's why we chose to work with her, in bringing this to the limelight so the world can see the beauty in the Ashoke of Kwara State.
Amazing. And how was it working with the First Lady of Kwara State?
Sorry?
What was the working relationship like, working with her?
Oh, it wasn't our first time, so it was.
Okay.
Yes. Like I said, she's been a part of Africa Fashion Week London since 2016. So even before she became the First Lady of Kwara State, so it's always amazing working with her.
Okay, so do you think African fashion is the number one route to promote the African heritage?
I think it is because fashion is a way that you could do. It has a way. It has its own language. It speaks to people without even saying anything. So yes, it's a way that we can use to promote our heritage. And if you even look at the Ashwebi culture, because I had the Ashwebi, we call it the uniform.
Yes.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Ashwebi culture in Nigeria.
I am.
Yes.
Yes,
where Ashwebi means it means the cloth of the family, although it's been extended to friends, and even strangers now. But when you go somewhere and you wear the Ashwebi, you feel as if you're part of that event without even speaking. You get to an event, you know where to sit based on the color of the Ashwebi you're wearing.
Okay.
So if you're a friend of the bride, so if it's during a wedding, if you're a friend of the bride, you know where to go to without even saying anything. The color of the Ashwebi you're wearing, it directs you on where you're meant to sit. If you're a friend of the groom or you're a family of the groom, the Ashwebi you're wearing, it tells you where to sit. So we have that communication. We use our cloth, our fabrics to communicate in Africa without saying much.
Wow. Okay, so African fashion can definitely be a way to promote that heritage to the world.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Now let's talk about the Sustainable Fashion Week New York. I mean, you're doing great things. You're moving this African fashion beyond the shores. I mean, you're going to be global. I mean, you're already global. What am I saying? You're already global. I mean, are you going to be, maybe have a flag on the moon soon or something? We're going to look through the telescope and see African Fashion Week London. The flag there, you're already there, waiting for everyone to emigrate or migrate to the moon already. But I mean, let's talk about this Sustainable Fashion Week in New York. I mean, what's that about? There's a partnership going on soon.
Yes, so it was a partnership that we did with the founders of Sustainable Fashion Week New York, and we had one day showcasing sustainable and heritage, fabrics from Africa at the Sustainable Fashion Week New York. So Sustainable Fashion Week New York was all about sustainability, how just educating people on how fast fashion damages, how it's damaging to the environment, and how we should all try to go back to our traditional sustainable fabrics as opposed to fast fashion.
Okay, that's really good. Thank you very much. I mean, we already have some questions coming in. I'm sure we'll get to that before the end of the show. We'll ask them, don't worry. But let's keep the questions coming as well. Okay, so the pandemic you mentioned earlier has been favorable to African Fashion Week London because it shone a limelight on what you do. People start paying more attention, asking you for advice, asking you for direction. But on the whole, what effect do you think the pandemic has had on the fashion industry?
What effect in general?
Yeah.
I think it affected the fashion industry because a lot of fashion weeks were cancelled. Most of the physical events were not allowed because of social distancing. But it also allowed us, to look at new ways and new innovative ways on how we could showcase fashion. And not just African fashion, but fashion in general.
Yes.
There were loads of digital catwalks coming up. There were loads of ways that people could drape, fabrics on the mannequin, but doing it in a digital way. So they're not wasting fabrics.
Yes.
So in a way, it kind of allows us to take a step back and, rethink the way of doing things. A lot of people call it the new normal now, so everyone, I think it's, in a way, it's kind of giving us time to reflect on how to do things, more beneficial to the environment.
Amazing. You're quite right on that. The innovation came out, when I saw the first digital, fashion walk down, it was amazing, and it was quite innovative. And I think you the African London Fashion Week participated in that as well, didn't you?
We had a few that we did, but we haven't shown any per se in terms of a digital catwalk, but it's something that we're looking at doing as well, because we don't know when the social distancing is going to end. Yeah. We don't know when people are going to be comfortable in gatherings of thousands. So we have to put plans in place that if that doesn't happen soon, what's going to happen? How are we going to keep on being relevant, and how are we going to, keep our designers as well, relevant as well in the fashion industry?
Fantastic. I mean, so what would you say distinguishes African Fashion Week London and Nigeria from the rest? The brand, what distinguishes your brand from the rest out there? I know the answer, but I want you to say it.
Well, for Africa Fashion Week London, we are seen as the big sister, kind of like the mother of all the fashion weeks. That's how we're referred to. So when Africa Fashion Week London does something, all the other Africa Fashion Weeks, around the world, they tend to do it as well.
Amazing.
Because they were all inspired. They all started after Africa Fashion Week London in 2011. And almost every major city in the world now has its own Africa Fashion Week due to the success of Africa Fashion Week London.
Amazing. The pace setters, the innovators,
Yeah.
started from the Royal Highness Princess who innovated and everyone follows as well. Amazing. I mean, so tell us something, if you could have a conversation with the younger princess. I know your princess is still young, she's still young and vibrant. I'm talking about maybe the younger princess. What would you say to yourself? What would be that conversation you would say to the younger princess?
What would I say to the younger princess?
Yes.
Just keep on doing what you're doing. I don't have any regrets. So, just keep at it. Always be positive, always, when you focus on something, always stay focused, just, keep that drive going. Don't get distracted. Even when people tell you, when people tell you that, no, you can't do this, you can't do, as long as you believe in yourself and you have that gut feeling, try it. Even if you fail, it doesn't mean you're a failure. You can try again. When you try something and you fail, it just allows you to learn more about how to make it better.
Amazing. Princess, I'm inspired already. This has been one of my most inspiring, interviews. I want to say thank you for that. Okay, just one more thing. We have some questions come in. I think people just want to find out more. But tell us a fun fact about Princess Ronke that no one knows.
A fun fact about Princess Ronke.
Princess,
I love, my hobby is sleeping. I love sleeping.
Okay.
I get so agitated when I don't get enough sleep, so I must get about 10 hours sleep.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
so I look forward to sleeping.
She looks forward to sleep. That's good, because that's where you get that innovative ideas come while you're sleeping and rested, and you wake up and you have this eureka moment, and you'll be like, oh my gosh,
yes.
This is it. I have this fantastic idea. Let's get it to work. Amazing. You're quite right.
Yes, and then my friends think I'm so boring. They're like, well, we're going to parties. And I'm like, but I want to sleep. I don't want to go. And they're like, okay, even if you go with us, when we're like 2 or 3 hours into the event, you're going to start saying you want to go home because you want to go and sleep.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good to know. So she likes to rest. That's a fun fact. Okay, I did a bit of research, and I found something, which is quite intriguing and amazing at the same time, I should say, if I can use those words together. I'll say the some words, and maybe we'll jog your memory.
Okay.
508 million naira.
508 million naira.
Yes. In pounds,
what's
so
that?
in dollars is 1.2 million something dollars.
$1.2 million.
Painting.
Oh,
okay.
Oh, Princess Tutu Ademiluyi.
Yes, that is amazing.
Okay, yes, that's the we call her the Mona Lisa of Africa.
Oh yes.
She was the I think that was the most expensive painting that sold out of Africa at that time by Bonham.
Yes.
It was a painting that was lost for 40 years. Painted by the late Ben Mwong. He also painted the Queen as well. He did a painting of the Queen.
Yes, he did.
So yes, and Tutu's my aunt, my late father's cousin.
Yes.
And she was the one and she's the one in the painting, Princess Tutu Adeniluyi.
Yes.
Yes, she was painted by the legendary Ben Mwong.
You see why I'm so excited to talk to you again? You see the excitement, where it's coming from, a bit of history in there as well. Amazing. Thank you for that as well. It's been amazing. It's been great. But let's quickly go to the questions we have on the show. I'm just going to take a couple of questions, not all the questions. So if I don't read your questions out, please do bear with me. It's because of time as well. Because Princess, she's very busy. She's got a lot of schedule. She'll take time out for us today. So first question is Jessica from Brighton. Jessica says, why are you so passionate about creating opportunities for others?
Why am I so passionate? I think we were all, and this is my belief, and this is what I believe, and I think we were all born to serve.
Okay.
We were created, to serve humanity, and I derive so much pleasure from doing that. It puts a smile on my face. It's more, it's worth more than money to me when I'm able to help others, or I'm able to, look for a way to assist others. That to me is it's fulfilling.
Amazing. That's really great. Okay, we have another question from Debbie in Chelmsford. Deborah says, what advice would you give someone who is interested in starting their own business?
For someone who's interested in starting their own business, I would say write your ideas down. Whatever business you want to start, first you would have to come up with an idea of what you want to do. You have to also make sure that that idea is not just driven by passion, but it's also something needed. So you would have to identify if that idea that you have or the business you want to start is really needed. You have to identify who your clients are going to be, because you don't want to just start because you're driven by passion, but you really do not have an audience that it's going to cater for. Before I started Africa Fashion Week London, I did a survey. I reached out to designers, to make sure that yes, I was driven by passion. I wanted to start it, but was it really needed? So I made sure that I did my research very well. And I did a survey. I sent out a survey to make sure that designers needed this platform. And it came back, 98% of them said, yes, this platform was needed. Amazing. So you must do your research very well to make sure that the idea you have is needed out there. You must identify who it's going to cater, to or for. And then you must also have a powerful presentation and identify, your revenue stream as well. Because like I said, I made that mistake. Initially, I did not identify my revenue stream. I was driven by passion, and so because if you don't do that, you won't become sustainable, and you don't want to end up selling your flat the way I sold mine.
Exactly. We don't want to be doing that. Okay, that's a great answer on that. I mean, that's a very great answer on that, and that's great advice. Do your research, know your market, and reach out to the prospective clients for your business. Okay, we have another one from Karen in Paddington. Karen says, "What's the most difficult thing from your perspective about building a brand?"
What's the most important thing about building?
Most difficult thing. What's most difficult or challenging about building a brand?
I would say, sustaining that brand. You have to keep on analyzing. You have to come up with strategies to make it better. For me, I use the SWOT analysis, to always analyze, the Africa Fashion Week brand, to identify what we're doing well, our successes, our threats, our opportunities, Amazing. And our weaknesses. So you always have to just to make sure the brand is sustainable, you have to keep on coming up with different, analysis and strategies that would make your brand, that would take your brand where you want it to be.
Amazing. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, I'm blown away by the intelligence being displayed by our fantastic guest, Princess Ronke Ademiluyi, on the show today. But we'll take one more question before we say bye to Princess. Princess, we have this question from Anthony Everest, who is the editor of Merciful Grace blog, who says, what are the changes implemented to improve on diversity and inclusion at the African Fashion Week London future events?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I was going to repeat that myself because that's a very serious question there. That's why I took it last. Okay, says, this is Anthony Everest from the editor of Merciful Grace blog, who says, what are the changes implemented to improve on diversity and inclusion at the African Fashion Week London future events? For events that kind of come in the future, what are the, diversity and inclusion changes that have been implemented to improve on that?
So that we're, in terms of what we're going to implement for future Africa Fashion Week events?
In terms of diversity and inclusion.
Africa Fashion Week London has always been about diversity and inclusion.
Yes.
As much as we call it Africa Fashion Week London or Africa Fashion Week in general, we've had designers, who are non-Africans, or who participate in Africa Fashion Week. We work with models. We've worked with over 500 models from different ethnicities, Caucasians, Asian models, Black models, African models. So we're a platform that's involved in diversity and inclusion already. But yes, we're open. If there are any suggestions on what he thinks, we can add to enhance it more. Yes, we're open to collaborations, partnerships, and, just to make it better. Amazing. But we are a platform that has diversity and inclusion already.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Princess. That's an amazing response to that question. And I like the fact that you're open to that, suggestion and partnership to build and improve, the African fashion and African heritage as you promote through your brand as well.
Great.
Amazing. So that time of the day has come. I mean, I don't want to let you go, but I have to let you go because the time is spent so fast. And I want to say thank you again for an amazing interview, for an inspiring interview, for a very informative interview as well. And I also want to thank you for all you're doing, all the sacrifices you've done for the African culture, for the African people, for the Africans in diaspora as well. I want to say thank you very much, Princess. Really appreciate you. And I wish you all the best and wish you more success as you go, going forward with the African Fashion Week London and maybe global as well. Who knows? Or maybe on the moon. Yeah, on the moon. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
Thank you so much.
Who knows? But before you go, do you want to say any final words to our listeners out there?
I'd just like to thank them for listening, and I would like to invite all of them to Africa Fashion Week London 2021 in August. And just thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of my interview, my conversation with Double9Radio.
Fantastic.
And thank you as well. I wish you all the best, all the luck in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Princess. It's been amazing. It's been great. I've had such a wonderful time. But I'm sure we should bring it back on the show at some point very soon in the future. But have a great evening, and I'll speak to you soon.
You have a great evening too. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.